Hello, this is Willie, and we're going through A Course in Miracles, 365 lessons. We're on lesson 4, January the 4th, if you're starting at January 1. And before we get started, I brought a cedar tree in here that I bought at a store last year. It was a Christmas tree. And I never got it planted. I wasn't sure where I wanted it. Made it through the year, so I just decided to keep it decorated. What little decorations that are faded that are on there. But I was amazed that it grew in that little, what is that, a 3/4 gallon pot probably? All year long. I mean, I kept it watered, but I didn't give it much care. It's not doing real well, but it's doing. And anyway, it's a Juniperus virginiana, I think, pretty sure, which is the common eastern red cedar that they make cedar chests out of. And the little berries, they make gin out of it. So, lesson 4. These thoughts do not mean anything. These thoughts do not mean anything. Remember our first lesson? Nothing I see means anything. Well, now these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, or on this street, from this window, in this place. We're going to get a little more structure in this lesson, and that's the way that will remain for a long while, with some structure. Obviously, the goal is that we just live these principles, but sometimes we need a little structure as we're learning a new way of thinking. So this is going to structure our day just a little bit. You'll still have lots of freedom to move around, you'll see. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, on this street, from this window, in this place. Unlike the preceding ones, these exercises do not begin with the idea for the day. And these practice periods begin with noting the thoughts that are crossing your mind for about a minute. Then apply the idea to them. If you are already aware of unhappy thoughts, use them as subjects for the idea. Do not, however, select only the thoughts you think are bad. You will find, if you train yourself to look at your thoughts, that they represent such a mixture that, in a sense, none of them can be called good or bad. This is why they do not mean anything. Paragraph 2. In selecting the subjects for the application of today's idea, the usual specificity is required. Do not be afraid to use good thoughts as well as bad. None of them represent your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. The good ones of which you are aware are but shadows of what lies beyond. And shadows make sight difficult. The bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You do not want either. Don't want either. The bad thoughts make it hard to see, impossible, he says. And the good thoughts are shadows of what's coming. And shadows make seeing difficult. This is a major, paragraph 3, this is a major exercise and will be repeated from time to time in somewhat different form. The aim here is to train you in the first steps towards the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful. It is a first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside you and the meaningful within. It is also the beginning of training your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. In using your thoughts for applications of the idea for today, identify each thought by the central figure or event it contains. For example, this thought about blank does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room or wherever you are. And paragraph 5. You can also use the idea for a particular thought which you recognize as harmful. This practice is useful, but is not a substitute for the more random procedures to be followed for the exercises. Do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid a tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. Further, since these exercises are the first of their kind, you may find the suspension of judgment in connection with thoughts particularly difficult. Do not repeat these exercises more than 3 or 4 times during the day. We will return to them later. Okay, so there's the structure. 3 times today we're going to, or 4, we're going to take a minute and we're going to just close our eyes and observe our thoughts. And then we're going to remind ourselves or say to ourselves, these thoughts about not getting a cedar tree planted does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room. Okay? So, be aware of God's blessing. Peace.